That Rays series, a little bit of a disappointing ending, being blown out 11-0 yesterday. But in the end, if you were to ask either of us at the start of this series what we needed to do, we would have said win the series, right? Take
Yeah.
3.
Take 3 games. Treat it like a playoff series, a best of 5. We did that. We took 3.
This Rays, Blue Jays, I don't know. I don't even think rivalry is the right word. But they seem attached at the hip, especially now that we didn't play them all season. It just feels like we're playing them in them every second series because we basically are. Of course, they're going to Tampa for 4 games at this next weekend here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Split? Are you happy with a split, Adam?
I mean, yeah, on the road, if you split a 4-game series, that's a win, I think.
Which would mean the Blue
Especially at the
Jays
Trop,
finish.
where we always struggle.
It would mean the Blue Jays finish this season series with Tampa Bay 9-10, which would give the Rays the tiebreaker. Which means, and frick, we watched how close it got last year at the end of the season, and we're looking at this wild card race right now, and it is as tight as it can possibly get. It is not unfathomable at all to think that the Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays finish tied. And that tiebreaker is going to mean something. So the Blue Jays do need to win 3 of 4 if they want home field advantage, if that tie does happen. Otherwise, off to the Trop. And that makes all Blue Jays fans pretty darn nervous, right?
Yeah. Do you, like, how much, there's a lot of talk going on right now about, like, well, can the Jays get home field in the wild card?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a chance at catching the Yankees for the AL East? If they can't, is it better to have that second wild card or that third wild card? Where do you fall in all of this?
I think we've talked about this a little bit. I'm kind of the thinking that if you can't get out of the wild card spot, no matter who you're playing, you're probably not going to get to the World Series, right? I mean, if the Blue Jays cannot get past the Seattle Mariners or the Tampa Bay Rays, what chance do they have against the Houston Astros or the Los Angeles Dodgers? So, I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, if you're not going to get home field advantage, I'd probably prefer the third wild card spot. Play the Guardians or even the White Sox, and even the Twins are still in it. The Twins, after looking like they were completely out of it, 6 games back of the division lead, have crawled within 4, coming up with a huge series against the Guardians. They've put themselves back in a chance to win the division, which is pretty wild. Again, we will touch on that a little later on the show. What does the Blue Jays schedule look like this week? Because after we face Baltimore here for 2 games.
Yeah.
They head to
Philly. Yeah.
Right.
So we got Baltimore for 3. These games are in Toronto. Reminder, tomorrow and Sunday are afternoon games if you're tuning in. After that, we go to Philly for 2. Then we continue the road trip to Tampa Bay for 4 games. And then it's home for New York and Boston. And we end the season in Baltimore.
Down to it. All division rivals other than that series against Philadelphia, who is also going to make the wild card this year and are a pretty darn good team. Their record very close to what the Blue Jays are at right now. So there are no soft spots on the rest of this schedule. Something to keep in mind, too, is that Seattle, on the other hand, is playing the Royals. They're playing a lot of those AL Central teams that are not looking so good. The bottom of the AL West they touch on a few times.
I believe they don't play another game against a team above 500 the rest of the way.
Yep. So the first wild card spot is kind of theirs to lose, I would say.
Yeah, I would say you're right.
Because Tampa Bay is also facing the same sort of schedule we are. It's a bunch of AL East teams, correct?
Yeah, it's a lot of Red Sox, a lot of Yankees the rest of the way.
So there we go. Going into Baltimore, playing a bullpen day today. Man.
Gotta
Sure would
love
be
just
nice.
punting twice a week, eh?
It sure would be nice if we had even, I mean, not to harp on this every time we turn on a mic, but my goodness, it would be nice to have a starter who could have come up and gone 5 innings. Even a guy looking back at the offseason, a guy like Zach Logue, who's logging all sorts of innings for the Oakland Athletics right now. We'll reach out to Zach after the season's over and just see how his new home in Oakland was and what it was like making his major league debut. But, like this has been the Blue Jays' Achilles heel all season long, is when you look down into AAA and you're like, who are we going to play? There's Casey Lawrence, Thomas Hatch, who's had a pretty bad season in AAA as a 27-year-old. There's not a lot of depth in that AAA so they're kind of handcuffed here into doing these bullpen days where you throw out Trevor Richards, or Julian Merriweather's probably who they're going to go with today because Trevor Richards kind of blew up last night. But then you've got to pitch Kikuchi. He's one of the only guys in that bullpen with some length. So yeah, I mean, it's not a full-on punt, but it feels like a little bit of a punt every 5 games, sometimes even more. So, I mean, Mitch White did a lot for this team when he came in that 4-0 loss in Game 1 of the doubleheader against the Rays. He pitched 6 innings, allowed some runs, but probably runs that were defensive errors.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, after Ross Stripling and Alek Manoah, things get a little dicey. And that is another thing that we're going to touch on here. In fact, why don't we get right into it now? We'll talk Vladdy after Kevin Gosman.